Ask Tom on Home Show.
Jimmy from Canyon Lake, Texas, needs a little radiant barrier advice.
Well, he converted his attic into an office space, Tom, and that's where the fun begins. Jimmy says we had drywall put up with insulation behind it, but we like the open ceiling, this one right here. And we're in the Texas Hill Country. Is there a recommended radiant barrier paint that might help keep us cooler in that attic, Tom?
Well, there's radiant barrier paints you can buy, but it's not something you'd want to look at. So if you're thinking of painting it and it's going to be a pleasant color and you can do something creative with it, you really can't. It's rather ugly and it's not really a paint. People call it a paint because it goes on like a paint, but you see the wood through it. You see the little sparkles of the metal. It's more of an industrial coating that goes on to create a radiant barrier effect, and it works very, very well. So Ultra, the Heat Block Ultra, and there's some others out there. You can find them. Just Google radiant barrier paint. You'll find all kinds. Now, I don't think you're going to want to do it in there. At one time, years ago, there was a company that came out with different colors. You could paint, you could get blues and greens and pastels, paint your sheetrock, paint different things. And it was a great product, but nobody used it because it just wasn't that useful. They were trying to sell it as an end all and not insulate a home and just paint the inside. And it didn't work that way. And so they sold so little of it, they just quit production. So you're not going to find anything like that on the market today. So I think my answer to you would be no. If you wanted to box it down, put a different interior wood on there, like a tongue and groove, and give yourself a little space and paint the radiant barrier on the deck, put a little bit of insulation and fur it down a little bit and do a tongue and groove, then you could get away with it. But an open rafter like that, that's actually a truss that they have there, it's not going to work.
Yeah, so you're saying that you'd fur down a little from that OSB decking, paint that radiant with radiant barrier, then put the beadboard or whatever you're going to put under below that.
And have a little insulation behind it. You could use styrofoam in that case, because if you look up in the very that little dark line where those rafters meet at the very peak, that's a ridge vent. So you could actually vent it right there too. So you could have what we call an ice house roof and put whatever insulation you want in there. Remember, the thicker you go up to an R30, which would be great, but that's 12 inches, so it would kind of defeat the purpose. And you'd have these weird sticks coming through there. You could do it however you wanted, but I don't think with a truss like that, that's just a web truss. They weren't meant to be exposed, so I don't think it's going to work very well for you.
I don't think it's going to look good in the end either. Now, that radiant barrier paint is paint. What's to stop it?
Well, it goes on as a paint, but it's not colored to where it's nice, smooth color. And but people think of a paint.
Couldn't you go down to a paint place somewhere and have them put the pigment in it and color it?
No. If you've heard me talk about putting something against a radiant barrier, it no longer works. It has to face an airspace. If you put a pigment in there, you're encasing all of those metal flakes. So now they become a conductor and they're not a low emitter anymore. It's all about the adhesive and how it works. You cannot colorize a radiant barrier paint. It destroys all its effectiveness.
We don't want you to destroy effectiveness. Click the Ask Tom button at HomeShowRadio.com, and we'll help you out the same way we just helped out. Was that Anthony here? No, it was. I totally lost my place here.
It was Jimmy.
Jimmy, we helped Jimmy. We want to help you too, and you can send pictures, and that helps us do a better job. And we want to do that. That's why Tom answers one of these every day. We post them on our YouTube channel and as well at HomeShowRadio.com.